Let's get ready and use makeup purchases from the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty event. So I did already go ahead and primed, so I went in with the Touch and Soul No Problem primer for my face and went in with the e.l.f. Putty eye primer in white for my eyes. Starting off with the Urban Decay foundation in the shade number 12 Light Neutral. Now this is a very nice and buildable foundation, but the only issue with this is that it does oxidize, so I would recommend getting a lighter shade. I'm just going to go in and apply some color correctors just to hide the eye bags, nothing too much, and a little bit of green for my redness right underneath my nose. Now just taking some concealer underneath my eyes and just letting it sit. For blush, I do have this Nars Afterglow liquid blush in the shade O, which is a classic peach shade with some gold shimmers. Now I love this blush so much. It is a very thin, almost serum-like texture. It lays down on the skin very nicely. It blends beautifully and seamlessly. My only issue with this, it's just its packaging. I don't like the gold cap. It does feel a little bit cheap. I feel like if I put too much pressure on it, it's going to break. I don't like how it's kind of blinding, even with my ring light. See how that does that? Especially like early mornings, because I do my makeup very early in the mornings, and then having the light just hit my eye at 6 in the morning, it's a no for me when it comes to the packaging, but the formulation makes up for it. Just going in with a light spritz all over the face just to set our creams. I'm just going to take a little bit of some pressed powder just right underneath the eyes to start setting, because I do crease a ton. Now for loose powder, I did pick up these two from Morphe, which are the Bake and Set setting powders in the shades Peach and Banana. Going in first with the peach powder. Now I really like the packaging of this. It doesn't disperse too much product when you're going like that into the cap, and it lays really well with a puff underneath the eyes. Now this is supposed to have some sort of blurring factor, but I don't really see much. It's not as blurring, but there is some slight effect. I really like this peach shade underneath the eyes. It is quite brightening. I'm going to take it just right here. Now baking isn't really a part of my routine, so I can't really say anything about the baking factor, but it is quite nice as a setting powder with some slight blurring. It's a little bit more on the natural side, so this isn't very makeup type of powder. It's very light, it's very thin, it's super lightweight. I think this would be perfect for summer because of how lightweight it is. Now for the Banana shade, I'm going to take this on the outer perimeters of my face, but as you can see as I tap off, look how thin that powder is. So if you're looking for a nice thin powder, I'd really recommend this one. It sits very nicely on the skin. It doesn't have a scent that I can pick up. Moving on to eyes, I do have this About Face liquid shadow in the shade Capulet. Now I have to be honest with you guys, these are not good. I love the range of shades and the blend of these, but they just do not dry down at all. Now because it doesn't dry down at all, it tends to crease really badly, and you can kind of feel that like wetness on the eye, and I don't like that. I don't like that feeling, especially because I do have a ton of creases in my eyes. So when I'm like blinking, I can like feel that like little stickiness, and it's just a little bit uncomfortable. So I don't recommend these, but I am going to use them up because they were $8 still. I was actually going to pick up 4 of these, and I'm actually really glad that I did not. So after testing these out multiple times through all different days, I realized that the only way to really make this work is using an eyeshadow palette on top. So you do need to go in and set these with powder, but my intended purpose with this is to not do that. So I really can't recommend these. So it's been a couple of minutes and it still just doesn't dry down. Still feel it when I'm blinking. I can feel that slight bit of like stickiness. So we are going to go in with an eyeshadow palette, and just to top it off. So if you do have these, I think the only way you can use them as just base liquid shadows, and then you have to go in with a powder to set them on top. The only primer that I have tried with this that has worked, even semi good enough, is this e.l.f. Putty eye primer. Now they do not make this anymore, but this is supposed to be a dupe for the MAC Painterly Pop. So if you do have that, I would recommend this. And even then, it still creases badly. It still doesn't really dry down. So you are going to have to set these with a powder, but they are a really nice shade range, and it does have a really nice blend. You see, it doesn't pick up, doesn't stick anywhere. It just doesn't dry down. Now to set the shadow, I'm just going to do a quick eye look. So I'm just going to take this darker peachy shade, just going in and setting that shadow, focusing more on the lower lash line. Taking this peach matte, and I'm just going to go right on top of that base shade that we just laid down on the lower lash. Taking a little bit of this pink matte shade and just taking it right on top of that previous shade. Taking this peachy shimmer shade and just focusing it on the inner portion. Taking a little bit of this champagne tone, just right on the inner corner, and just bringing it in. Just taking a little bit of this darker peach for the lower lash line. Taking the lighter peach shade and focusing this more on the front side. Going in with the matte pink shade and just blend everything out. So I went in and finished up the lower lash line and added some mascara. So now let's finish up the rest of our face. So now we do have two blushes. I have these two are right here. So this is the Nudestix Barely Nude blush, and this is the Bare Minerals Blonzer in Kiss of Pink. Taking the Nudestix blush in the shade Barely Nude as a base shade for our blush combo. Now I love this formula a lot. It does have a little bit of fallout, but it's very minimal. These are very easy to work with. It does have like this slight like powder, creamy, silky matte formula, which lays really nicely on top of the skin, and especially on my pickaxe scars over here. It doesn't have any blurring factor, but it just sits really, really nice. See how pretty it just lays on the skin? It doesn't really have any blurring, but it's so pretty. It's such a beautiful shade. It's a pretty every single day shade. I think this is just so perfect for the spring and upcoming summer months. Now, I do want to talk just a little bit about the packaging and why I don't really like this. I feel like the magnetic closure is a little too rough, where I want to open it and it almost makes my nail kind of dig into it, which talking about, I did dig my nail into this. You can't really see it from afar, but from close up. So I tried opening this like this, and the magnetic closure was a little too strong that I pulled it back and my nail went like that. So that is the unfortunate, which is why I just don't really like it. And also the mirror. It's a little bit of a hazard because I do have my dogs and they're kind of always around, especially when I do my makeup in the morning. So the other day my baby was just around me and I accidentally dropped this and it was laid like this and she stepped on the mirror and I heard a slight little crack, but none of it broke. So I don't really know what that crack was about, but it's a little scary because I wouldn't want any mirror particles, especially in this formulation. I feel like if there were to fall any mirror particles in here, it would be a little harder to get out because it does have this like slight creaminess that would kind of be embedded in there. So that is just a small packaging detail, but it is quite noteworthy, especially as someone who does kind of take packaging a little bit more serious. So formula and everything about this is great, but packaging, I think we could have done something different. I think a simple, easy, just top opening package would have been great. Speaking about just simple opening packaging, we do have this Bare Minerals bronzer in the shade Kiss of Pink. Now I did pick up 3 of these and this one has been my favorite so far. My issue with these is this formulations are quite inconsistent. I do pick up 3 shades, so I picked up Kiss of Pink, Kiss of Spice, and Kiss of Mauve. My Kiss of Mauve shade has a little bit more glitter compared to my Kiss of Spice and especially my Kiss of Pink. This one has the least bit of glitter particles, but what I love about this formulation, it sits beautifully on the skin. It has such a beautiful base color where you don't need to have a blush combo. This on its own would have been perfect, but I did want to show you guys this blush combo, so I really recommend, if you guys are into blush combos, taking the Nudestix Barely Nude blush and topping it off with the Bare Minerals bronzer in Kiss of Pink is a beautiful peachy nude pink blush combo, which is perfect for the spring. Now these are just so pretty. It doesn't enhance any texture. It has really fine, this specific shade has pretty fine glitter, so it just has a nice pretty sheen where you move around and when you hit the sunlight, it's just so pretty. It makes the skin look really healthy. So out of all the shades, I think I would recommend Kiss of Pink the most. So if you're into pinky shades that has a little bit more of a luminous finish, I would really recommend this one. Just adding a little bit of brows because I don't really have much, so I'm going to go in with some brow gel just to set and place them. Now just adding some brow powder just to fill in the brows a little bit. Just taking a little bit of some lip liner just to add some shape. Now this is our last item. This is the Tarte Maracujá Lip Plump in the shade Mixed Berries. It is that clicker pen type of packaging. It's a very pretty shade. Now with this, I like it. I really do. But that's it. It's not a wow. You need this. You need to run out and buy it. Like, this is the most beautiful product ever. But it's there. It's nice. It's a lovely formula. Now, something about this that I do know, I love the fragrance of this. But if you are sensitive to fragrances, you should not get this. But it is a very, very nice fragrance. If Tarte were to ever expand and if they were to ever release fragrances, I think this Maracujá line scent would do really well. I do like it. I'm going to continue on using this because I did buy it, so I will be using this. It does have a little bit of a slight tingling sensation. It's not necessarily plumping. It's more of just like a minty feeling. It's quite comfortable. It doesn't really hurt nor sting. It's not spicy, but it is slightly there. And that was our last product. So this is the finished look. So let me go and find an outfit, add some finishing touches, and I will be right back. And I am back. So this is the final look using my beauty purchases from the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty event. So it's been about an hour that I did this makeup. So the foundation has oxidized and it looks a lot better now. Now overall, this makeup looks so good. The blush, the foundation, the lip color, everything came out so beautiful. So I really loved everything that I picked up from the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. I am so excited for the next 21 Days of Beauty, which will be happening in the fall. So this is it for today's video. Let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions, and with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Mwah!